The Galactic Council had made its decision. In the Grand Chamber of Valoria Prime, representatives from 47 species stood in solemn agreement. The vote was unanimous. Earth would be sacrificed. It wasn't personal, they assured themselves. The Zithirian plague spreading through the outer colonies demanded a containment protocol that no civilization had ever attempted. One planet would be sterilized, completely atomized down to its core, to create a quarantine buffer zone. Mathematical models from the Quarithian Collective confirmed it. Earth's location made it the optimal choice. Ambassador Ariel Chen stood before the council, her face unreadable as the verdict echoed through the chamber. She was young for a human diplomat, barely 30 standard years, with dark eyes that had witnessed more than most species experienced in centuries. Beside her, Arthur Kane, humanity's chief military liaison, remained perfectly still. His scarred hands, products of the colony wars, rested on the podium. You have 72 cycles to make peace with this decision, High Arbiter Velshan announced, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into prismatic patterns. We understand this is difficult, but Earth's 8 billion inhabitants represent a mathematical acceptable loss. Compared to the trillions at risk, Ariel nodded slowly. We understand. The other ambassadors shifted uncomfortably. They had expected rage, perhaps bargaining. Humans were known for their emotional volatility. But acceptance? That seemed almost wrong. The evacuation protocols are impossible within your time frame. The next Theory observer noted, its voice a symphony of discordant tones. Your jump gate capacity cannot move such numbers. We have calculated. We don't need your calculations, Arthur interrupted, his voice quiet, but carrying weight that silenced the chamber. We accept the council's decision. As they left the chamber, the other species whispered among themselves. Perhaps humans weren't as formidable as the rumors suggested. Perhaps their reputation from the colony wars was exaggerated. They seemed almost broken. They couldn't have been more wrong. The moment Ariel and Arthur's shuttle cleared Valoria Prime's atmosphere, Arthur's calm facade cracked into a fierce grin. Did you see their faces? Ariel was already typing commands into her neural interface. Operation Exodus is greenlit. Send the signal across human space. A network that had been built in absolute secrecy roared to life. For 3 years, ever since humanity had first caught whispers of the Council's contingency protocols, they had been preparing, not with hope that it wouldn't happen but with the certainty that it would. Earth's population didn't have 72 cycles to evacuate. They had 72 cycles to make it look like they hadn't evacuated. The Argonaut networked 12,000 stealth-shielded jump gates hidden in Earth's asteroid belt. In the Cooper Belt, even in the Oort cloud began processing evacuation groups at a rate that would have seemed impossible to any observer. But there were no observers. Humanity had learned something the older species had forgotten. Sometimes the best defense was making sure nobody was looking. Every transport, every shuttle, every private vessel humanity possessed moved in perfect synchronization. The gates themselves were a marvel reverse-engineered from Vulcrine technology, improved with human ingenuity, and powered by dark matter reactors that the Council had explicitly banned for safety concerns. Humans had built them anyway. In New Shanghai, families boarded transports disguised as normal traffic patterns. In the Amazon Preserve, indigenous communities who had initially refused to leave were finally convinced by shamans, who had seen this moment in their visions, or rather, in the classified briefings Ariel had personally delivered. The Saharan arcologies emptied in 12-hour shifts. The Pacific floating cities simply detached their quantum anchors and jumped to designated coordinates. Even the underground settlements of Antarctica, home to researchers who had sworn to never leave, packed their equipment and departed. But Earth couldn't look empty. That would raise suspicion. Arthur oversaw the second phase personally. Holographic projectors, millions of them, positioned across every major population center. AI systems refined over decades of digital warfare now served a different purpose, creating the perfect simulation of a living, breathing, doomed world from orbit. Earth appeared unchanged. Cities glowed with life. Traffic patterns remained normal. Communication networks buzzed with activity. The Galactic Council's observational drones reported exactly what they expected to see. A species in denial, going through the motions of daily life while their world's end approached. Ariel watched the evacuation progress from the command center on Titan. The numbers climbed 70%, 80%, 90%. We're not going to make it, one of her advisors warned, panic creeping into his voice. There are still 300 million people. We'll make it, Arthur said, appearing beside Ariel. The Martian colonies have opened their emergency shelters. The European habitats are accepting overflow. Even the Cooper stations are cramming people into cargo holds. 95%, 98%. With 6 cycles remaining, the last transport lifted from Earth's surface. Aboard were the volunteers who had stayed behind to maintain the illusion engineers, technicians, and actors who had kept the holographic cities running. They had waited until the absolute final moment, ensuring that every scan, every probe, every suspicious observation showed a world still inhabited. 99.7%. The remaining 0.3% consisted of individuals who had made their choice, hermits who refused rescue, old souls who wished to die with their world, and a handful of volunteers who would ensure the deception held until the very end. Their sacrifice would not be forgotten. When the Council's sterilization fleet arrived, Earth looked exactly as expected. The Valkyrene worldbreakers charged their weapons, probability cannons that would unravel reality at the quantum level. High Arbiter Velshan transmitted one final message: we honor your sacrifice. May your species find peace in the stars. The beams fired. Earth's holographic projections flickered and died. The planet's surface erupted in cascades of energy. Continental plates shattered. Oceans vaporized. The atmosphere was stripped away in seconds, and across 47 species, billions watched the execution of humanity's homeworld with solemn regret. What they didn't know was that in hidden colonies across a dozen star systems, 8 billion humans watched the same broadcast with very different emotions. Ariel stood in the observation deck of New Exodus Station, Arthur beside her. They think we're broken, she said quietly. Scattered refugees who'll spend generations rebuilding. Arthur smiled. Let them think that. While they pity us, we'll be fortifying. While they mourn for us, we'll be expanding. And when the plague reaches its inevitable conclusion, because we both know their containment won't work, we'll be the ones with the infrastructure to survive. Do you think they'll ever figure it out? Ariel asked. Eventually. Maybe in 50 years. Maybe 100. By then, we'll have 30 colony worlds instead of 3. We'll have a fleet that doesn't rely on Council technology. We'll have made ourselves indispensable. Ariel nodded, watching Earth's final moments replayed on screens across the station. Children who would never know their homeworld's soil clung to parents who wore expressions of grief and determination in equal measure. They destroyed our planet, Arthur continued, and gifted us the perfect excuse to stop playing by their rules. Every Council regulation, every treaty that limited our expansion, all of it void. Because we're now an endangered species deserving special dispensation. Humanity. Fuck yeah, Ariel whispered, raising a glass of salvaged wine from Earth's last harvest. Around her, 8 billion voices echoed the sentiment across the stars. The Council had tried to erase one planet. Humans had evacuated it in secret, and in doing so, they had freed themselves from every chain that had held them back. The galaxy would learn in time what it meant to underestimate human determination. But by then, it would be far too late.